Hello and welcome to the podcast, Emma. Today we're talking to Emma from Ethereal Floral Boutique on the sunny coast, and thank you very much for joining me. I have been impressed, let's say, about you and the way that you have started in the industry. So as we'll sort of get into, I'm sure, you are relatively new to floristry and you are a young woman. And I wanted to chat to you today to get your perspective of this amazing industry that we're in. Yeah, so first of all, thank you for joining me. Could you tell us what it is that made you decide to get into floristry, into this flower industry?
I basically was finished school. So I graduated school 2022 and my mum was actually looking for something different to do because she's in the psychology realm and she's like, oh, why don't we just do a workshop and suss it out? So we did one workshop and we were both like, we're doing it. We have to do this. So then we signed up for the school, did the 18-month course and yeah. But to look back, I always was in like the garden. I love plants. I love the flowers. I could always be picking them. So it kind of naturally was always there. But I didn't really notice until I started the course, which was kind of nice to like figure out as I like did it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was it.
You didn't know that flowers were actually a part of your life until they were.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, like, why does this feel kind of natural? And it's like, oh, like Mother's Day, like all of that. I would pick flowers for mom and all of like, you know, just little things like that. And I was like, oh, that makes so much more sense now.
Yeah, no, that's great. And we're glad that you did join us.
Me too.
So
Me too.
you were saying basically it was just a by chance thing, having that chat with your mum and yeah, signing up for school. So yeah,
which
that's
was
awesome.
cool. It was really cool. Yeah. It was good to do.
What's with the origin of your name for your business, Ethereal Floral Boutique? I told you I was going to stumble over that.
Yeah, I stumble in it too, so it's fine. There's kind of no like origin story. I just wanted something that was like completely different, and I love like the ethereal vibe and like how like ethereal flowers and clothes and like all of that stuff kind of does look. And I just loved how it sounded. It sounded like I love the old school, like clean, elegant vibe, and I just felt like, oh, ethereal's like it hopefully won't go old. But that was like kind of there was no like real like, oh, I just love the name. I had a lot of people tell me it sounded like ethanol, and I was like, how? But that's fine. And I still have a lot of people who mispronounce it, stuff like that, but I kind of like it because it kind of is like if you had to design a brand or a hire a brand, no one can pronounce their name.
Yeah. And it's quite unique as well. As I said to you before we started, why I wanted to chat to you is that I think for someone, you are a lot younger than me, so I can say you're younger. Whenever we talk about different things about your business, you always have some really good ideas on how you're going to get yourself established and create your business and then get it going. When did you actually start Ethereal Floral Boutique? I should say the whole thing. I'm not going to say flowers. What sort of steps you've gone through over the last sort of 12, 18 months to sort of get your name out there?
Well, it actually started because I couldn't find any work. So I had started in a florist shop, which was very much like an eye opener for me. It was like in Noosa, it was very high end. It was very like I hadn't ever seen it before, like a flower shop done like that before. So I kind of was like, I really like this and I like how different it is. So yeah, so I had worked there for a little bit and then 2 months went by and she shut the shop on me and I was like, oh, so sad, but that's fine. So then that made me start my business because I couldn't find any other work. Well, when I did find the work, I was like, I'm not going to grow in this shop because I knew I wanted to just do more than just like selling bouquets of flowers to regular retail clients. But yeah, so that's kind of how it came to life and why I kind of did it. But basically, I just was really strict with myself with, okay, what am I doing? How does that reflect who are like my target people that I actually want to attract? How does my name reflect that? How does my colors reflect that? How does like one big lesson that I've been learning recently is like the flowers that you use actually matters. Like if you don't want it to look thrown together or like relatively cheap, you can't get away with it,
Yes,
because everybody knows.
yes, because obviously different flowers have a different vibe. You've got that whimsical, light,
Mm,
floaty, as you said, sort of just thrown together as you walk through the garden look, or you have that higher
yeah,
end, very sort of structured and nice, clean, crisp sort of look. So yeah, it's important. And you've acknowledged that, like you understand that, which I think is great.
yeah, definitely took a while. And there was some flower like it's also hard because you have to be wary of costs and stuff. But other than that, like I just really focused on like tying down on that and being really strict with what I still saying yes to everything, but I didn't have to publish it all.
Yes.
And just making sure like I'm meeting new people. I was going to like business events and networking events, getting my name out there, just getting in front of people's faces. Even though I didn't have a physical shop, people still would follow me and order things from me or reach out for a branding event or something because they saw my face and they actually met like who's behind it. So that was kind of the main things that I did to do that. But it didn't like always start out like I had to learn that through like doing markets and all the things that you didn't like, which I thought I wanted to do, but didn't after I
Yeah.
realized I had done it. So it all comes with just trial and error, unfortunately. But
Yeah.
yeah, that was about it. You just have to keep
Give it a
showing
go.
up.
Yeah, no, I think,
Yeah.
and you've talked to me once before about the sort of networking events and things like that you've
Mm.
done, and I think that's like brilliant. But it obviously takes a lot of confidence to just go along to those sorts of events. So yeah, good on you for just putting yourself out there
Yeah,
and
definitely
just doing
not
it.
easy. Yeah.
And but it's obviously
Not
rewarding
easy.
because that's sort of building that
Mm.
community around you. Like they're getting to know who you are, what you do, and hopefully, one of them,
Yeah.
if they need flowers or their friends getting married, they're going to be thinking of you, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
So at the moment, obviously you are in the earlier stages of building up your business. What does it look like? So
Yeah.
how much sort of time would you say you're sort of spending within your own business and how much time would you be sort of freelancing for others?
I think your brain never really switches off. So you could say 100%, but
True.
physically, I think it's probably at the moment more so 60-40 where it used to be nearly 90%. Because I've done all that behind the scenes stuff that I just got to keep stepping it up now. But yeah, just because I am freelancing and working with other florists more and more now, it definitely has kind of sat a little bit further on the back burner, but it's still doing its job, if that makes sense.
Yes, absolutely.
But
Because at the end of the day, you need to gain, you got to have income coming in as well as you're
yeah,
building up a new business. So I think what you're doing is great because you're not having
yeah,
as much stress on, oh my God, this
yeah,
business isn't turning over just enough yet. The
yeah,
freelancing is obviously going to help. And
definitely.
freelancing is obviously a great opportunity to learn a lot more about the industry as well. Like, how do you feel about freelancing and what are some of the benefits if anyone's sort of thinking of giving it a go?
I'm obsessed with it because I am so new in the industry. So it's a good way to have my business, but also continue like to grow my skills and like learn things that you wouldn't ever learn. Like to be able to book the events that like a 10 to 15-year-old florist has already got is not very likely for me at like the 2-year mark, year and a half mark of even owning a business or starting it at all. So I'm kind of taking that for granted and really soaking it all up and going, you know what? I would love to have those events, but I'm like, but I'm learning this without having any costs,
Yes,
you
you're getting
know?
paid to learn. It's a
Yeah.
fantastic.
Which is
I've been doing
awesome.
it forever, and I still like to freelance for other people
Yeah.
because you learn so much. It's
Yeah,
awesome.
you
So
really like you really do. So I would 100% recommend it. But getting those jobs is difficult, but you just have to keep putting yourself out there and just keep trying and not taking it personally if you do get rejected or they don't pull you back
back.
or anything
That's
like
great
that. But
advice too. Because I think
yeah,
everyone takes things like that to heart. They
yeah,
don't get back to you. Oh, what was it? Was it about me? Good attitude. Just keep on
but yeah,
rolling with it and it's just another setback, whatever. So, as
yeah.
I said, you are sort of relatively new to the industry. What would you sort of say is probably one of the most surprising things about like the floristry industry that you weren't expecting?
How much behind the scenes there is. Honestly, like it is, and I learned that like pretty early on in the flower, like the floristry course is that it is not as simple as just like putting a
Not just
bouquet
playing
together
with
or putting
flowers,
an
is it?
event together. Like so much like calculations behind the scenes, like pre-planning stuff. I always like hated planning in school, and now here I am having to plan everything, and I'm like, ah. But there is so like that was definitely the biggest like, oh my gosh. Especially when you aren't like if you're in someone else's shop, you don't have to worry too much. You just learn the costings and stuff like that. Whereas when you're on your own, you have to actually like do all the communications, all of the planning, all of that. So that definitely was a big like, oh,
I
okay.
think that's one of the things I admire about you, Emma, is that you acknowledge the
Thanks.
planning. So many people will still be in denial that they have to plan stuff for it to happen. Like,
Yeah.
so
And if you
great.
don't, then it's like your own problem if you don't get it. You
Yeah.
can't be like, oh, I didn't get this flower, but it's like, did you plan it? Oh, I didn't make any profit, but did you plan it? And you're like, oh, you can't escape it.
Yeah,
Oh, annoying, but
exactly.
it's fine.
Yes. No, that is so true. You had sort of said at the start that part of the reason you decided to start your own business was that you were finding it difficult to get work within the industry. Would you say that's sort of typical for people with limited experience trying to get in? Like, how do you sort of feel established businesses or
Yeah.
established florists, are they supporting these younger people trying to get in, or do you sort of find that it's a bit of a barrier?
I think there's definitely the people who don't, like, and there is a barrier, and then there's people that do. And you just have to wait for that, like, one person that does wanna help you and bring you in. But then also, yeah, there definitely is a few barriers because a lot of, like, especially if you're wanting to do, like, wedding and events and stuff like that, they're so well established that they've got their, like, 5 staff on hand at all time. They know exactly how that person works. They know how to manage them. They know everything about it. And people like, I've found, like, a lot of places that I have tried have the same florist for, like, 5 to 10 years.
Yeah.
So it's like you can't jump in there when they've been there for so long and they're gonna stay there for so long. So then it's like when you do try and find someone and some people love it. Some people want somebody who wants to mold you and wants to teach you their ways, and, like, they will see, like, "Oh, she's new, relatively new, she's done A, B, and C, cool, but I can continue to teach her and mold her and make her my best worker."
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you just have to find those people, but there definitely is a bit of a barrier
Yeah.
for that.
Yeah. No, I would agree with that.
But yeah,
That's
that's
so
just
true.
yeah.
I think just like as you said before, like staying with it and just keep putting yourself out there, applying at different florists, something will eventually sort of come up, which is great. So
Yeah.
so,
I also
like
think,
everything.
like, it's back to, like, the people you know. Like, a lot of my things I've gotten out of the school.
Yeah.
Where it's been passed on, or can you recommend somebody, or so it's also, like, just talk to people with someone and be like, "Oh, my friend owns a florist and she's looking for somebody, and I already know you personally. I know you're a good person. I'm gonna refer you even though I have no idea of your skill."
Yeah. And building, as you said, going even back to that network, like building that up and making the most of the contacts you have, or building new contacts within
The
your
industry.
community, and
Yeah.
like just sort of trying to reach out to as many people as well. And that's how we met as well. It was through the school when
Yeah.
doing Melbourne. Debbie recommended
Yeah.
you when I was like, oh shit, I think I need some help.
Yeah. Go you for
And
being ambitious and being like, "I'll do it on my own."
yeah, I know. What was I thinking? Oh my God. I think back to that and I was like, oh my God, I was gonna just do that all by myself. Like I would have been like up and down that ladder. I think it
You
would
would
have
have been
killed me.
bedbound for it because your legs would have been like, "Don't move me anymore."
Maybe I would have had a really nice tight butt from all of that exercise.
Oh god, yeah. Wouldn't surprise me climbing all the little ladders. But yeah, no, I think
Yeah.
it's just you just kinda gotta go for it.
Yeah, that's true. On another side of setting up your business, how do you feel about competition or the pressure as a newcomer coming into sort of an established area? How do you sort of feel about that? Like, do you sort of get the vibe that you're sort of welcomed as a new business, or do you sort of, feel like that you're sort of like this outcast if you're new? So what's your sort of view on that?
I feel like some of the bigger flower like businesses, I don't even have the time to notice me.
Yeah,
Does that make
which
sense?
is true. They're focusing on their own, which is sort of what they should be doing.
Yeah, so set up. So like in the beginning, obviously there's always like geez, copying me, especially when you are in school and everyone's starting their own business and everyone's
Yes.
talking about their ideas and you're like, we all are doing the same thing. How am I gonna do that? But that just comes back, I think you just can't compare. Because whether like someone comes to you and they're like, I want you to do my flowers, if they don't actually like you as a person, they're not going to come back. But if like, regardless, if you're doing the exact same thing, which no one can do the exact same thing, it'll like, it's kind of not worth it to be in competition. If that makes
Yeah,
like, I just think,
absolutely.
I don't know, but you always have those moments of comparison where you're like, oh, why can't I do that? Or, oh, she's doing this, or, oh, rah. But you kind of just, everyone has their own style. So it's like there's not enough florists on the coast at least for people to have to be worried about that.
Yeah.
I think.
I think you raised a really good point too, is focus on your style and what you want to do. So do you find that you get influenced at all about like with different trends that you sort of see, or how do you sort of stay true to that, that ethereal vibe? Like how do you stay true to that and not sort of get too caught up in all the trends?
Well, I personally love all the trends at the moment. I'm not gonna lie.
So I shouldn't
I
ask
do.
that.
But like I feel like the trends at the moment are very much my business vibe. Like they're very like en masse and moody and clean. Whereas when it was all the pastels and fluffy floaty, I kind of was like, oh, I really like this, but it doesn't reflect what I always want to do. So yeah, I think, but even when I did do that, I still like everything still remained incredibly clean and to detail, and the way I photographed it was slightly different, and the way I promoted it was also slightly different to keep that kind of brand going through it, even though it wasn't necessarily reflecting the ethereal style. So yeah, I think I love the trends, but if you put your own flair, it's fine.
Yes, that's true. Find your
Yeah.
way of interpreting that trend into your style. I think that is so true because we're creatives. We see things that look a little bit new and different that do then become a trend, and you're just like, oh, I want to try that. So yeah,
Yeah.
and I think the key is keeping it in
Do it your own way. Yeah.
your way. Yes, that makes you stand out. Do you think that younger florists are bringing sort of fresh ideas and different things to the industry?
Oh, I think a little bit, yeah. I think there's a lot, all like the toot and like the sticking pearls on everything and all of those extra creative things, I think is coming from the younger generation of florists.
Yes.
Or like that.
We've all lived that. Us older people have done that pearl thing. So yeah, I think that's great.
Yeah. So I think that bringing all the old kind of back through, like another way, which is super nice. But yeah, I don't know. I think there definitely is some like younger people who are bringing it, especially like the social media side of it and the way like it's not just an ordinary florist anymore. Like it's people are coming to you because of you kind of thing. Like it doesn't really matter. It does matter what you do, but if they don't like feel that on social media that they want to support you or they like your personality, or people just go, meh.
Yeah, exactly. Because you do have that. You guys have grown up in a digital. You don't know anything different, so you have that ability to really embrace any of those sort of new platforms that come along and use that to promote your business. And looking at floristry as a whole over the last couple of decades, probably the last 10 years more so than anything, it has changed a lot. And social media is a massive influencer of how people run their businesses, and for good or bad. And obviously you as a younger person embracing it is great, because that's how you're going to reach your crowd, who obviously are younger, they're more adapted at using social media. So yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Where do you see your business in the next sort of 5 to 10 years? Like, what are your dreams?
Have many.
You don't have to, like, okay, you don't have to share all of them if you don't want, but
I think I would just honestly love to be full-time in my business, or either full-time and secure and moving out of somebody else's business to then pursue mine full-time.
Yeah.
I would just love, like, my ideal clients. Like, I don't really mind how much there is. Obviously, I'd love heaps and big budgets and all of the
We all
dreams.
want the $20,000,
Yeah.
$50,000 weddings and
Yeah.
like few of them a year. Yeah, that's our dream.
So that's obviously a dream. But honestly, I just want to have people come to me for what I'm doing and for the styles that I actually like, and
Yes.
doing the things that I actually want, not because, oh, I'm like full time and I'm depending on my business and I have to take on these jobs, which everybody has to do and I still would have to do. But I'd love to be in a position where I would have like a team with me. I could be attracting all of my ideal clients and then maybe like a few of the ones that I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll just do it.
Yeah.
And yeah, just have a fully running, probably just events and weddings and corporates. I wouldn't necessarily do retail as such, but yeah, that would be the goal.
The goal.
And the
Oh, good on you.
dream. Yeah.
Have you
And
said
have a
about
studio.
Oh, okay, excellent. Yes, now everyone needs
I
a
would
nice
love a
studio.
studio. Yeah.
Mind you, oh my God, if you could see my studio at the moment, it is a train wreck. It's got crap
But it has,
everywhere.
like, you can't be clean as a florist. Like, it's so, like,
I
I've
should
noticed that
be
everywhere.
because it's off season and I've been putting off cleaning this place for the last 2 months. So I really need to get into it. But
Fine, you'll get there.
what sort of
It's hard though.
plans, we're thinking, obviously longer term, what sort of things have you sort of put in place to try and sort of start growing your business from sort of something that obviously at the moment is quite small, but you want to get to a full-time studio? Have you got sort of anything that you want to share, obviously? Any plans on how you're going to make those incremental steps?
Definitely have some plans in the back of my mind and in motion, which I think a lot of it is just taking a step and doing them.
Yeah. Okay.
Which is the scary part. But I think, like, I'm loving doing like styled shoots that are my vibe, or just getting really nice, clean content that I can just keep pushing out that would attract my people.
Yeah.
But then, like, the next year, then I attract like 3 more of those people, and the year after that, I attract 5 more of those people, and like just those slow like things of definitely being consistent online, in person, on my website. And I'm kind of just taking this year, as I am doing more work for another florist, to just make sure all of that like is in place and my website is clean and workable, and my Instagram continues to keep being active, and potentially even doing like personal blogs on TikTok and stuff like that, because people are loving like the personal brand to then help build my business. But that's the scary part that I'm too scared to do.
Do you want to do my TikTok too? Don't like TikTok.
I can't even do mine, so we'll see. I'm like, scary. But yeah, I think just all those little things that often can be missed when you are starting a business, because you just focus on like more so the business side of it. Like, I would love to just do like even once a month, just like create something, like not spend a lot of money. If I can source things from like other places and cheaper, I could, just to create something that looks like a whole big scale thing.
Yes. Yeah.
Just to get those clients and get that out.
Yeah. How do you go with like styled shoots and finding collaborators and making it work for you? Because obviously, we get asked a lot in floristry. Oh, could you just do the florals for this shoot? And they've got this massive list of all the things they want. And before you know it, it could cost you thousands and thousands of dollars. Like, how do you manage that?
Yeah. Well, I've done,
Do you?
I think it's about 3 at the moment. So one of them was literally as simple as just a bouquet. And like, I'm not going to say you can repurpose a lot of things as well, but I'm also not going to fully say, yes, I'm going to do all of this stuff for nothing, even though I'll consider like consider who you're working with.
Yeah.
Like, are they going to give you that exposure? Are they going to give you the content that is your style? Are they going to work out for you? But my most recent one was super chill. It was just a bridal piece, and I was only meant to make one like floor piece and bar piece, but I ended up just making two because I had enough stuff. But you have to work with people that you kind of already know and know how much it actually does cost you compared to like if they're a photographer or something, like it's costing your time, but also the product, whereas that's just costing their time. And obviously the cameras and stuff are already paid for, but in hindsight, it's just their time that's needing to be paid for. So if you can find vendors and collaborators that understand that and are like, okay, we can reuse this here and reuse that there and don't make too much because we understand, like that's probably the most important part. If they don't understand, then you kind of just got to go weigh it up, see what it could come out as and what you could get from it. But, and also sometimes the things you kind of have to suck up when you are so new in the industry and you are building a business.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, what do you have to show? Sometimes you got to put out that extra bit of money to make that money.
Yeah.
Which is annoying, but it does absolutely end up becoming work.
Yeah.
Which is that.
Yeah. And I think the big thing that you sort of mentioned there is finding the right people, like that understand, obviously there is a cost to you, but that also are going to be that understand your vibe, and I suppose that are all working to create that same overall sort of vibe, and you're all targeting the same person rather than a mishmash of different styles and nothing's cohesive. So
everything clashes
and
a
I
bit.
did and I did see some of the pictures from that. Well, I assume it was from the last shoot. Yeah, very cute. And I must, very you. Awesome.
Thanks.
But yeah.
Like it's so good to just do. And you meet those people as well. Like, even though one of them I had never met anyone and it was kind of a last minute thing, I was like, I'm heading to Brisbane anyway, I'll be able to do it for you. I wasn't even after shoot. So I was a bit like, am I going to spend this money and not get anything back? That's the best thing I've ever gotten back because they saw my Instagram. They saw what on my whiteboards. I saw their Instagrams and and it was cohesive. So it worked so well and it was perfect. Like, I love it.
And there you go. You've sort of got someone else in your network of people to help build your business. Like, hopefully then you can have someone's like, oh, who's a good florist? Like, oh, yeah, you got to go talk to Emma. So it's all part of it when you're building up a business is sort of thinking of that bigger picture. So I think that's
yeah.
What would your advice be for anyone that's wanting to start out in floristry?
Ooh, just do it. Honestly, you could either make floristry have zero pressure or you can make it have pressure.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's the good thing about it. Like, you can either make it be everything that you want to do or you can learn it and have it as something that you just literally enjoy doing and want to just do workshops and be happy with that. So, like, I think there's zero risk in just doing it because it doesn't have to be your everything. But if you do want it to be your everything, it can be.
Yeah, with your background in going through the school and doing the full certificate, you would have seen like there's so many different parts of floristry. And as you said, like if you jump in, you can take one part and make it your thing and go run awesome workshops, or as you said, you can go do wedding flowers or like and I think that's great because acknowledging that there's so many different things that you can do.
So many different ways you can go. Yeah.
And it's
so many. And it's up to you.
Yeah. Get the knowledge and then sort of decide how you're going to use that. So yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Before we finish up, where can people find you if they want to say hi? Hopefully someone listens to it and they want to say hi.
Yeah. I'll listen to it. No. Just Instagram, Facebook, website. It's all just my business name on every platform. TikTok is there, but it's very bare. It might push me to just do that little leap and expose myself to the world a little bit.
Well, no, we'll put those.
So on every platform.
Yeah, we'll put them in the show notes too. Well, thank you for your time today. I always love chatting to you. As I said, you inspire me. I think you're a great chick. Me. So thank you so much for your time today. And hopefully we'll see some amazing things from Ethereal in the coming years. So thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right.